Ta-da! We're back again for another Saturday here. Final Cut TV. When I do it at 12 o'clock, I'm not really having coffee, so this is just Final Cut TV. It's the same series, but I had coffee at 10 o'clock in the morning, but I've kind of cut it out for the afternoon, at least for the time being. So we'll just call it Final Cut TV. But it's the same, Final Cut TV and coffee. It's the same. It's exactly the same. Good evening. How are you doing? Where are you watching from, Mr. Good Evening? Downloaded the BlackMagic camera app 2.0 on my iPhone and iPad. I'm now more inclined to buy a new iPhone this autumn and use the app to control my 15 Pro Max from my iPad. The Netherlands. Welcome to the Netherlands. Good morning, Mr. Chris Smith from Washington, D.C. I'm very familiar with Washington, D.C. I worked down there for quite a while. Our friend Tim Bork from Liverpool in the UK, thank you for tuning in. What's happening over there in England? You guys are going nuts. But we don't talk about stuff like that. Let's just talk about Final Cut Pro and BlackMagic camera app 2.0 and other post-production related things. So, Lincoln, Nebraska. Look at this. Fantastic. People from this is truly a worldwide Final Cut Pro event every Saturday. Let me just see something. Let me see if I can I had this last time. Well, so nobody's chiming in from the X Twitter platform. no Facebook people, although they're watching. I can see them watching on the live stream for the time being, anyway. People on X. I like broadcasting. Listen, I've been broadcasting on Twitter/X for 4 years. I broadcast through the entire time. Periscope it initially was. Now they switched it over to something else. So we're broadcasting live on X, Facebook, and Twitter and YouTube. So disappointing, Final Cut Pro team. I know you watched this live stream. It's disappointing that there's been no update to Final Cut Pro 10.8 after this is week 7 coming up. 7 weeks, nope, not a peep out of the Final Cut Pro team. 0, no bug fixes. It's disappointing to say the least, because if it's a small bug fix, you've done it in 2 weeks before. Last year at this time, you did a bug fix in 2 weeks, and you did a second bug fix in 2 weeks and 2 days. So the idea that we're waiting 7 weeks for bug fixes is disappointing. Let's just say that. It's disappointing. Are you anticipating Final Cut 11 this fall? Yes. I'm expecting an update at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, which is now live. You can buy tickets now, but make sure you use a discount code. There's one discount code right now. You get 15% off. Don't pay full price. I will be having a discount code once they get the room. They haven't got the hotel rooms up yet, and they haven't got the program up yet. So if you buy a ticket now, you can cancel within 7 days for no problem. But within 7 days, look at this. For no problem. My iPhone just came on. So yeah, that's fantastic that it's up, but there's nothing really on the site yet. We'll go visit there in a minute. Our friend Roz from Inspired Video, absolutely. So am I anticipating Final Cut 11 this fall? I'm only anticipating Final Cut 11 because that's what Logic Pro did. Logic Pro went from 10.8 last November to Logic Pro 11 in May, 6 months later. So Final Cut Pro went to 10.8 in June, 6 months later. It's very possible that we could indeed get 11. I anticipate for sure that the Final Cut Pro team is going to show us something at the Creative Summit. I can anticipate that. And I'm thinking Logic went from 10.8 to 11. Why wouldn't Final Cut Pro go from 10.8 to 11? I see no reason. I see no reason why Final Cut Pro wouldn't follow in Logic Pro's footsteps and go from 10.8 to 11. Now, you would think the 11 would be a big update. Hopefully, they've been working on it for a couple of years. That's what I hope. So that'll be great, because last year, first in-person Final Cut Pro Creative Summit since 2019, in which case they had nothing to show us new in 2019, 0. It was a huge disappointment. They had nothing to show us in 2019. 2023, they showed us the world premiere of Final Cut Pro 10.7. I'm going to say Final Cut Pro Creative Summit 2024. They're going to show us Final Cut Pro, a new version, I'm sure, quite possibly Final Cut Pro 11 with new features, text-based editing, auto captioning, if we're lucky, a new audio mixer. Who knows what they've been going into 11. Now, going from 10 to 11 is a big deal. Hopefully, it's been built from the ground up once again and has a lot of new features, and it's more efficient. So my 2018 iPad Pro can control my iPhone, or my iPhone can control my iPad at BlackMagic camera. I just find it interesting that Apple wanted everybody to upgrade iPads to do similar with their apps. Yeah, they're a little stricter on their iPad specifications. What features would warrant a version upgrade from 10.8 to 11, not just from 10.8 to 10.8.x? Like I said, text-based editing is a big one. They've got to get text-based editing. I use that all the time in BlackMagic DaVinci Resolve. I use it all the time. Anytime there's captioning, anytime there's bulk work to be done, I can edit so much faster with text-based editing in DaVinci Resolve, which is built in if you have the studio version. So much faster to do a rough cut that way. Just looking at blocks of text and selecting and copying and pasting, or selecting and deleting sections that you don't want. So that's the big one, text-based editing. Look, if they bring it out in November, they're 18 months behind everybody else. Premiere had it 18 months ago at NAB. BlackMagic had it 18 months ago in their beta at NAB. Avid, I think, has had it for a long time, so they're already 18 months behind. Yes, I know they always say, well, we won't be first, but we'll make sure it's done right. Well, BlackMagic is done right as well. So I'm just saying, I think if they come out with a version 11 for Final Cut Pro, it's going to be rebuilt. Maybe new underpinnings, maybe a whole new system. And that could be a problem with plugins unless the plugin manufacturers are on top of it. But I'm anticipating if it jumps to 11, there's going to be obviously something big. Text-based editing, auto captioning, those two go together with me. If you can auto transcribe a thing, you should maybe do auto captions. So, and these are the big three: text-based editing, auto captioning, and a roles-based mixer. Those are the big three for me. They've had a mixer for years. They haven't turned it on yet, just like they had just like they had a scrolling timeline. So who knows? I mean, could they go to 10.8.5 at the summit? Yeah. Could they go to 10.9 at the summit? Why would they go with their other Pro app, Logic Pro, from 10.8 to Logic Pro 11, and not follow suit with their main Pro app, Final Cut Pro? That would be bizarre to me if they intended to do that. Now, of course, they're a bit unpredictable, which I'm sure they like, that they're not predictable like they used to be, more predictable. I expected a bug fix for 10.8 to come out certainly within a month. Well, it's going on 7 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. That'd be 2 months with people living with these bugs. Now, let's go over here for a second. Let's go over and watch one of my movies that I made. So here we have, let me just turn this on. Here we have the App Store, right? Well, I made my own copy of the App Store. Let's watch what my copy does. Click on Final Cut Pro. It goes to the Final Cut Pro page. It says Professional Post-Production, and then I added this. Quit refreshing. We're on vacation. No Final Cut Pro 10.8.1 for you, like the Soup Nazi in Seinfeld. That's where I got that. And that's from the Final Cut Pro team. Now, of course, it's just being tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of a joke, so. But it's odd that they were so efficient last year during the same time period, over the summer. They had one update in July in 2 weeks, bug fix, a second bug fix in the fall in 2 weeks and 2 days. And this one, now, there's obviously a reason. Whether they're on vacation, but why did they get it out last year? They were on vacation last year too, I presume. On vacation is not really a good one. Is it more problematic than usual? That could be one. Are they adding a couple of features to 10.8.1 or 10.8.5? They've been skipping numbers like crazy with these updates. So maybe they have a few features coming in it. They're going to sneak a few features with the bug fix, and that's why it's taking longer. That would be great. That would be great. Maybe more pressure to get 11 ready in time and then 10.8.1. They shouldn't be letting us live with these bugs for this long. I mean, it's almost 2 months. We're going on 2 months. So they shouldn't put 10.8. They want people to use it. And I'm using it on non-critical projects. And there's probably 4 bugs that I've seen repeated over and over and over again by people that I respect, that they know what they're doing with Final Cut Pro. So they should be working on, I'm presuming, Final Cut Pro 11 for like years now. They've probably started it years ago. Look, well, here's something else. Let's go over here. Let's go back to this. Now, first off, this is another one of my little jokes. Waiting on Final Cut Pro 10.8.1. Now, this guy is very patient. Okay? This guy is very patient man. And he's waiting on Final Cut Pro 10.8.1. He's very patient, as you can see. He's just standing there. But that's not what I wanted to show you. Let me go over here. Where is... Oh, I know what it is. I have to... Wait a second. Let me go over here. Behind the scenes. Let me go over here a second. I know why it's not there. Because I have to do this. Let's do this. And let's do this. This could also be a reason. Tim Cook says Apple is spending more to get Apple Intelligence ready for launch this fall. Okay? This is the curious line. According to Cook, Apple has been putting more money and more money and reallocating more resources into developing Apple Intelligence. What we've done is we've redeployed a lot of people to AI that were working on other things. We've redeployed a lot of people on to AI that were working on other things. Is Final Cut Pro other things? Have they stolen people from the Final Cut Pro team to work on AI, and that's why we're not seeing the bug fix for 10.8.1? I hope not. I certainly hope not. One could hope that the delay in the bug fix is because those bugs affect some of the features we want to add to the next version, 10.8.x upgrade. Yes, but last year they did it in 2 weeks. I'm comparing them to themselves. Okay, they did it last year at the same time over the summer in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks and 2 days. They very often have bug fixes out in 4 weeks. Very often. Probably half a dozen times they've had it out within 4 weeks. We're at 7 weeks starting this week, and there's no sign of a bug fix yet. Could it come out this week? Of course it could. Of course it could. Why the long wait, though, we don't know, or they won't tell us, of course. They won't tell us what's going on. I suspect it's more than being on vacation, although if Tim Cook is poaching people from the Final Cut Pro team, come over here, Final Cut Pro team, I got to get you working on AI. What is Final Cut Pro? Tim goes, what is Final Cut Pro? I forget. Let's wait on that. Let's get over to the AI department. I'm only kidding. I don't imagine that's what's going on. But the other thing is, look, 1 month, there's going to be a new iPhone. In 1 month, there's going to be a new iPhone, probably a launch in September. Probably like 1 month from now, we're going to get the iPhone 16. Poaching can be training. Don't poach the Final Cut Pro team. Okay? Don't poach the Final Cut Pro team. That's my point. Poach something else. Poach the whatever else you want. You got other people hanging around. You don't need them. Leave the Final Cut Pro team alone. We have had a lot of rain here on the East Coast of the good old USA from tornado. There's been a tornado out that came around. And we've had a lot of rain for like 24 hours, a lot of flood watches, I think Fells Point in Baltimore is flooded. I saw some videos of that. Right down where I live, it was flooded. River Road was flooded. Is it possible they can't figure out the problem? There's more than one. There's probably problems. In 13 years, they always figure out the problems. It'd more difficult, perhaps, but since it's taking so long, give us a new feature or two in 10.8.1. That would be fine. At this point, it doesn't seem like Apple is that excited about Final Cut Pro for Mac these days, just to push a few minor updates here and there and tell people there's a 6-year plan. A 6-year plan? Where did you hear about a 6-year plan? I've heard about a 10-year plan, roadmap. 6-year? Oh, you're talking about the Creative Summit last year. Matthew was talking about... So one of the advantages of going to the Creative Summit, one of the big deals is going to Apple Park, Spaceship Campus. We went there last year, finally, and meeting with the Final Cut Pro team. We had 2 meetings with the Final Cut Pro team. One was their presentation to debut Final Cut Pro 10.7 last year. That's one of the big ones. Following up on that, we had a live Q&A with the Final Cut Pro team where we get to ask them questions in a big audience. 200 people were in there, 150, 200 people. And then the Final Cut Pro team, the different managers or whatever, were sitting up in chairs in the front. And they pretty much answered a lot of questions. So I think what Matthew's talking about is, I asked the first question last year. I said, first off, whoever turned on the scrolling timeline, I want to thank you. Number 2, here's the question. I said, I see this on social media all the time. I've been seeing it for years. Is Final Cut Pro going to go the way of Aperture? And I'm not saying that I agree with that. I've just seen that question over and over and over again. So that's the question I want to ask for the audience, for my audience. Is Final Cut Pro going to go the way of Aperture? And their answer was categorically, absolutely not. They said, not only do we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 6 months, we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 5 and 6 years. Now we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 5 or 6 years. I think that's what he's referring to. Hope things dry up soon, Richard. I've got to run. Thanks. Absolutely. They already have dried up. We have beautiful, beautiful fall-like weather coming up in the next 2 or 3 days, the rest of this week. I have an outside carpentry project that I have to finish that I started last year. It's repairing my girlfriend's sun house. She has a glass house, for hot house. She's had it for years, and all the wood was rotting away, all the structure. So I've been replacing it. I have both sides replaced, and I have the roof replaced. That's all been done last winter, but since then I have to replace the front and the back, and I have to make them stronger because it's tilting. For some reason, it's tilting. It's askew, and it's not because of the level. It's certainly level, but I'm going to make it stronger. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's go over here and watch another movie real quick while we saw that one. Let's see what else we have. So here's my little BlackMagic camera video. I put this together this morning. So if you don't know, the BlackMagic camera app 2.0, you can now control wirelessly iPhone cameras in the BlackMagic camera app, which is the big screen here. This is my iPad Pro. You can control them from the iPad. So the iPad has a very big screen, much more detailed, obviously, and you now can control iPhones, certain model iPhones, with the BlackMagic camera app with your iPad. Or another iPhone, but the iPad makes more sense. This is a quick little video I did this morning. It's just showing you I'm controlling it. There is a little bit of lag between the phone and the iPad. A little bit. There you go. You get to see that. This is the screen recording of the iPhone, of the BlackMagic camera app on the iPad and the iPhone. These are both screen recordings. Very, very impressive. Now, number one, there is a little bit of lag between the two cameras. There is a little bit of lag between the two cameras. And a couple of times it disconnected. A couple of times it gets disconnected. How many potential new features face obstacles and delays due to constraints such as murky copyright and avoiding costly litigation? I don't think you have to worry about that with Apple. I think Apple's on top of any kind of litigation. Let me just do this. Aha. All right, let me just do this real quick. Have you heard of Strada? Absolutely. I visited Michael Cioni at his Strada party at NAB last year. I was invited and I went to that. It uses AI to determine and tag your video files and exports to apps like Final Cut, etc. And then you can easily use those tags in Final Cut Pro to easily find footage. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Up. Where's my volume control? There we go. I'm just going to do something real quick. Now let's turn that off. Just going to take care of some business. Let me do this. Just going to do some maintenance here while I'm going to do over here. Check, check, check. 1, 2. So anyway, we did indeed have a lot of rain. Love the new BlackMagic update. Now can use my iPad as wireless monitor when doing my TV productions, etc. So it's really interesting because I agree. First off, BlackMagic is an incredible company. They get updates all the time to their software. And let me just go over here real quick. Boop, 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 boop. I have to do this. Just a second here. Facebook. Going to do this. That's the one. Okay. There we go. Now we're back on track again. It just takes a few minutes sometimes to do things. This is all live. I don't have any. You look around, there's nobody else here. I mean, some of these productions that do live streams have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people, some a dozen people. I'm here by myself, so I got to take care of things as they turn up. It looks really good outside, doesn't it? It looks really, really good. Everything's green, getting ready for the fall, for the leaves to come down. We have some activity out there. How would you compare Final Cut Camera app to new BlackMagic app update? So here's the deal. The Final Cut Camera app, I have it and I've tried it. There's 3 things that the Final Cut Camera app does not do that I want it to do. Number 1, the native camera app in the iPhone, once you press record, you can change the cameras and the lenses while you're recording live. You can go back and forth. I have 4 different lenses. You can go back and forth to any of those 4 lenses while you're recording live. This is the native camera app. Also, BlackMagic camera app can do the same thing, and a bunch of other pro apps can do the same thing. For some reason, the Final Cut camera app can't do that. For some reason, the Final Cut camera app, you have to stop recording, pick a new lens, start recording, in which case you lose 3 to 5 seconds every time you switch. Apple's native camera app doesn't do that. BlackMagic camera app doesn't do that. You don't have to stop recording to switch cameras lenses. That's a killer for me because I use that all the time. If I'm just setting up in a studio, it's not important. I can switch cameras. I have more than one camera. When I'm out live, filming live, I switch cameras all the time, back and forth. And I don't want to have to stop recording, pick a new lens, a new camera, and start recording every time when I have one camera and I'm out filming live. Hogwash. Apple's native camera app can do that. The BlackMagic camera app can do that, and the BlackMagic camera app is getting better at it. For some reason, Final Cut Camera can't do that. So if they got that feature fixed, I'd be more apt to use it. Other than that, it looks to be really, really cool. A lot of advanced manual features and things. And to use it with the multicam live with the iPad and Final Cut on iPad, it works phenomenally. but I'm not going to use Final Cut on the iPad when I have a superior version on my MacBook Pro. I would buy it if it wasn't a subscription. I'm not going to buy a subscription to Final Cut when I have a better version on my MacBook Pro. I use LumaFusion on my iPad all the time. Here's two other things that are annoying with Final Cut Camera. Number one, there's only one flavor of Apple ProRes log. There's only one flavor of Apple ProRes log, and that's ProRes HQ, which is a very, very high data rate. It'll fill up your camera, your iPhone, very, very quickly if you use that for any length of time. Especially with me, I film in 4K. BlackMagic camera app you can record in ProRes log in 5 different flavors, including all the flavors of ProRes, and you can record Apple log in H.264 and Apple log in H.265. 5 or 6 different flavors of ProRes that the Final Cut camera does not do. Here's another annoying feature. When you record an Apple log on the Final Cut camera and you're recording ProRes HQ, you have no choice but to record ProRes HQ, there's no way to look at it through a LUT. There is 0 LUT support in Final Cut Camera. You can't preview a LUT. You can't import a LUT. You can't burn a LUT in if you wanted to. Those are 3 things that annoy me about the Final Cut Camera. Could they get resolved? Of course they can get resolved. Then it would be a direct competitor with the BlackMagic camera app. Now, right now, it's great if you have Final Cut on the iPad and you want to use Multicam Live. Hands down, it's a great app for that. But as a standalone, no. I either use their standard camera app or I use a BlackMagic camera app. Those are my 2 favorites that I use. I don't use anybody else's. I have all of them, but I don't use anybody else's. Having the lenses when filming horizontally towards the ceiling solve the problem. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I missed the question. The first time I tried the 2.0 setup after watching a YouTube video on how to control your iPhone with the iPad, I realized the picture was shown upside down when the lenses were toward the floor. So he said, having lenses when filming horizontally towards the ceiling solved the issue. Very good. I would love an iPad Pro Mini. Does Pro and Mini go together? Do they go together? I don't know if they go together, but we'll see. For that reasons I just mentioned, I think the BlackMagic app has surpassed Final Cut Camera. About to delete it. BlackMagic app is the one. Now, here's the thing. The BlackMagic camera app is brand new. And the BlackMagic camera app, like I said, if you use it with the Final Cut iPad, Final Cut Junior on the iPad, and Multicam Live, it's fantastic application. Final Cut Camera is brand new. BlackMagic camera is a year old, so BlackMagic is a year ahead. I do expect Final Cut Camera to get these things. I don't know about using anything rather than ProRes HQ, but I do expect them to fix the ability to switch cameras while filming live and LUT support. I do expect those. Do you do LUTs with BlackMagic camera app? Absolutely. I have LUTs loaded. You can load LUTs. You can preview with LUTs in BlackMagic camera app, and I think you can also burn the LUT in with the BlackMagic camera app, which means it's baked in the video file. Now, there are other camera apps that I have. Anytime there's a camera app that comes out, and lets you buy it, perpetual license with not a subscription, I buy every one of them. I have over half a dozen, but my quick and dirty one is just use the native camera app because I can switch lenses great. Put it on record, switch lens, switch. It does absolutely the best job of switching lenses, cameras of all the apps that I have. BlackMagic has been improving their camera switching while recording live, and this new version is the best version yet. Sometimes they have a 1 or 2 frame stutter that gets recorded when you switch cameras while recording live. Now they've gone to a quick to and from black frame, which is the best that they've done. But I'm not sure why the native camera app can do such a good job with that. They do a fantastic job. They do like a very quick zoom in or zoom out. It works very, very well. I usually don't have to edit those at all. The BlackMagic camera app, if I still have to go in and check and edit those switches. So that's a little bit annoying, but it's better than stop recording, switch the lens, and start recording because you lose 3 to 5 seconds rather than just 1 or 2 frames, sometimes 3. The native camera app does it. Final Cut camera team, go over there to the iPhone camera team and ask them to give you the code so you can switch cameras while recording live. Okay? Same company, you can do that. So I'm excited because of the Final Cut Creative Summit coming up. I'm very excited about that. It's my favorite Final Cut Pro event every year. It's the biggest Final Cut Pro event in the world. It's the biggest Final Cut Pro event in the world. Let me just go over here real quick. Do this. Fantastic. And let me just do this. Let me see what's going on there. Okay, that looks good. Everything looks good there. Just checking. Just checking. Let me just go over here. I'm just going to check and make sure we're live on Twitter. I think we are. X Twitter, whatever that is. And then we're going to talk about the summit for a minute. Yes, there we go. Yes, there we go. So let's go over there and look. Going to go over here. So let's go over here and look at this. So the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, we don't have, the program is not listed yet. We have the dates. Wednesday, November the 13th, Thursday, November the 14th, and Friday, November the 15th. Now, we are going to Apple Day is November the 13th, Wednesday, November the 13th. That's Apple Day. Pull this over here. But let's go see what we have. Register now. Now, here's the thing. The program is not up yet, but it says Wednesday, November the 13th will feature Apple Day, followed by 2 full days of training on Thursday and Friday, November the 14th to the 15th. Also, one of those days, one of those evenings, there's going to be an expo night. You get to talk with all the vendors that are supporting the summit and Final Cut Pro vendors and plug-in manufacturers. and et cetera, et cetera. So one of those 3 nights will be Expo night. And then the other 2 nights, typically maybe Thursday night, we'll probably get together we're back at the Juniper Hotel. So we'll probably get together at the bar there. They have a bar, and sometimes we have events that go on there. So let's just see, register now. Takes you to an Everbright place, allow cookies. Come on. And here's the price. It's $5.99. That includes the Apple Day at Apple Park visit on Wednesday and 2 full days of training. But. There's a coupon out there. There's a coupon out there. Let me see. Let me go find that for you. There's going to be more than one, but right now there's one. And we also don't have hotel room. They book a block of hotel rooms, and you can get a discount if you're going to stay at the Juniper. Now, if you're doing Airbnb or something like that, that's different. So let's put this up there. And let's put it up here. Here's the code. Use code FMC alumni for 15% off at checkout. So instead of $5.99, that brings you down closer to $4.99. Instead of $600, it brings you down closer to $500. Now, you can't buy your way into a Final Cut Pro team meeting except by doing this. FMC alumni for 15% off at checkout. I'll probably have another code a little bit later on, specifically for Final Cut Pro Radio. We'll have to see how that goes. Do you expect a big update at the Creative Summit? Absolutely. I absolutely expect an update. Maybe Final Cut Pro 11. I would not mind a 2x upgrade that enabled you to use a 28 and 35 millimeter lenses on the iPhone if you have 2 phones set up next to each other. That'd be nice to have one set of 24 and one 28 or 35. Well, you can do that manually, right? If you have 2 phones, you can set it up manually. I know I could use the 2x option, but that might get too close to the subject. So I use 2x quite a bit. I use 1x, 2x, 5x, and 0.5x. I use all those in combinations when I'm filming, when I'm walking around with one camera and I'm filming. I have my Insta360 Flow gimbal, and I'm doing that, and I hit record, and I record for an hour continuously, and I constantly switch lenses. Constantly. With Final Cut Camera, you have to stop recording, switch the lens, get it refocused, hit recording. You lose 3 to 5 seconds rather than no seconds with the native camera app. I'm kind of surprised they didn't adopt the native camera app ability to do that. Kind of surprised. So anyway, the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, it's very, very cool. I highly recommend anybody that can do it. Now, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It never has been cheap. Last year was the cheapest, but maybe they had more financial help last year. I don't know what the problem was. But this year, it's always been $900 to $1,000 for the 3 to 4 days. This year, it's down to $599, but the discount code brings it down to almost $4.99, almost 100, I think $85 off, something like that, $85 cheaper. So make sure you use that discount code. This is the code right here. FMC Alumni for 15% off at checkout. Well, last year was only $2.99. Last year was only $2.99, but last year we weren't at the Juniper for one thing. Last year we had to go 1 mile from our hotel to where the sessions were. 1 mile. This time it's in the Juniper. Everything's in one place. But that was an unusual year, and I thought it was really too cheap. So it's back up this year. Like I said, with the discount code, you can get it for $4.99, but it's really, really worth it. Not only you get to go to Apple Day, not only you have 2 full days of sessions, you have Steve Martin probably, Mark Spencer teaching motion, you have all these great instructors teaching people that you see online. The Final Cut Pro will probably be there. Our friend Jen Jager will probably be there, teaching in person these people that you see on YouTube teaching tutorials. They're teaching like a 45-minute class. You can talk to them afterwards, have questions, etc. 2 days of that. Apple Day usually starts at noon, so there'll be something in the morning as well, a welcoming ceremony, etc., etc. But it's also an expo night. You get to mingle with all your friends. They provide food. Last year, Future Media Concepts conferences provided lunches for us. Breakfast, sometimes they have at the Juniper, they have coffee and bagels and danishes in the lobby between the sessions. And sometimes they have lunch for us. Last year they had lunch, so that's part of the cost. This all costs money. This is Cupertino, California. Costs a fortune. Everything costs money. So it's not cheap. It'll cost you, set you back $1,500 or so. You got to take off work. You got to get transportation. You got to get a hotel or an Airbnb. So it's not a cheap event, but there's nothing like it in the world. This is the best Final Cut Pro event in the world every year when it's in person. And the Final Cut Pro team, you get to see them typically twice. Once at Apple campus, they do a presentation, and then hopefully they're going to do another Q&A this year like they did in the last. They've done it all the in-persons. We get a Q&A with the Final Cut Pro team. You can't buy that. There's no place on the Apple Store you can say, oh, I want to get a ticket to go to the Final Cut, talk to the Final Cut Pro team in person. This is where you do it, the Creative Summit. Let's go back to our movies. So we saw that one. Here's an example. This is us on the bus going from the hotel to the just a quick little video. There's 2 buses, 3 buses, something like that. This is last year. And let me see what else we have. This is the Juniper Hotel where we're going back to. We weren't there last year, but we're coming back this year. It's a really, really nice hotel. This is, I think this is 2019. I'm pretty sure this was 2019. I was just walking outside. Now this, Sorry. I got it. Had it muted. So these are the three rooms. Let me go back up. Let's go back here. This is outside. Here we go. So these are the rooms where the sessions are. This is the main lobby of the hotel. This is one room here, and then there's another room right down here. There's another room right here. This is where the sessions are. So you can imagine, you come down the elevators, you go into the lobby. We have some lobby scenes. There's people milling around. A lot of times there is coffee and Danish and bagels in the lobby for us. There might be lunches here. I don't know how that's going to work this year. Let's go over here. Let's go back here. So this is the lobby. This is the desk. And this room is really cool. They have a fireplace in here. Over here, they have coffee in the morning and the newspapers. There's a nice fireplace and a nice little lounge area. Very, very nice. Now let's go over here. We're not going to go there because there's a reason why I'm not going there. Let's go back to, this is upstairs. This is the where the rooms are, of course. This is 2018, I think, when I was there. 2018, I think that's when it was. This is the lobby. This is what it looks like. People all through the lobby, between sessions, in the morning before the sessions start. At lunchtime, this is what it looks like. This is what you get. All these people, you can talk to everybody. This is another benefit to going in person to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. It's an incredible, very, very cool experience. There's our friend Brad. Somebody's saying hi. But that's what it's like. The whole time you're at the Creative Summit, sessions, Apple Campus, meeting with the Final Cut Pro team in person. You can ask questions. Well, that's a very nice. Don't forget to give a simple like to show your support. Thank you very much for that. We've got plenty of thumbs up. Fantastic. Very nice comment there. Good morning, all. There we go. In your opinion, which year was the best for the Creative Summit? 2016, 17, 18, and 19 were really good because they were at the Juniper Hotel. 2019 was my least favorite summit because Apple Final Cut Pro team, there was no update to Final Cut Pro mentioned. That was probably the worst one. Not for the summit itself. The summit is still very cool. You get to the expo, you get to have lunch and bagels with your friends that you see online and everything. You still get to talk to the Final Cut Pro team, but there was no update to Final Cut Pro in 2019, so that was very disappointing. As far as the spirit, I would have to say that last year's Creative Summit was probably near the top, if not the best, and I'll tell you why. We had a lot of new, younger Final Cut Pros there. We had Dylan Bates there giving, Final Cut Pro giving a presentation. We had Jen Jager there, another new person coming up in the Final Cut Pro community. There was a lot of new people that brought a lot of energy with them. You could feel it. It was palpable at the summit last year, so it was really, really, really cool. I prefer the Juniper Hotel by far because everything's in one place. Your hotel room's upstairs. You come to the lobby, you talk to people in the lobby. If they have coffee and bagels and stuff, you can sit down and have conversation. You can stand and have conversations, waiting on getting into the sessions, which is fantastic. You can go out to lunch with your friends, You can say, let's go out to lunch together. You can have breakfast. There's a Starbucks across the street. There's a shopping center across the street. There's lots of places to eat in that area. Plus, there's the hotel, as usual. The hotel is there. They have a restaurant, but it's very expensive. I don't even know. I think they have it. When I go, I like to have at least one just plain old Americana breakfast. Bacon and eggs and toast and hash browns. I really like to do that at least once because I don't do that often. So last year had a lot of new energy coming up. That was very, very exciting. But I like being in the Juniper because everything's in one place. Last year we had a mile to go from the hotel to the place where the presentations were. They've all been great. I would say my least favorite was 2019 because there was no update to Final Cut Pro. The event itself was fantastic. Future Media Conferences does a great job with these. They do a great job with these. They work with Apple and get the organization for the Creative Summit and the Apple campus visit. So it's just, if you can possibly go, it costs some money, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's an event like no other. It's the biggest Final Cut Pro event in the world every year. The biggest. Let's go over to here. Let me see what I have over here now. Oh, by the way, over there on X, we have a Final Cut Pro community. It's just Final Cut Pro. Search on it. You can get it. Right now, we have 118 members. Maybe there might be 120. Just get in there. A lot of people it just kind of started, so that's pretty cool. Also, don't forget, Final Cut Pro Radio, the podcast. I started Final Cut Pro Radio. This is my ninth year of Final Cut Pro Radio. It's an audio podcast talking about Final Cut Pro. You can find it in the apps. You can find it in the podcast section of iTunes or your favorite podcast aggregator. We have several million downloads of these audio files over the last few years. So, here's the Final Cut Pro. Here is the Creative Summit logo, November the 13th through the 19th. Very, very cool. I'm excited about the Creative Summit. It's my favorite event of the year, Final Cut Pro event. When I was younger, I used to travel all the time. I went to Europe. I went to Paris. I went to London. I don't like traveling that much anymore. So to get me out of the East Coast to go to the West Coast, either at NAB, at Las Vegas, or the Creative Summit in Cupertino, thank you very much. One of the things, I'll put together some things about the Creative Summit. Future Media has their own Facebook group. It's called, let me see this. It's right here. They have their own Facebook group. They have to update their banner logo because right now it's from last year. It's not November the 6th to the 8th. It's November the 13th to the 15th, but they have their own Facebook group with 1,000 people. You have to ask to be invited. You have to be an alumni of the Creative Summit or they have some criteria. They got 1,000 members there. But I have a group that's dedicated to the Creative Summit every year, and it's more for, it's more for hooking up with Uber rides, hooking up to go get something to eat, and it's just called Final Cut Pro Creative Summit Attendees. So this is my group, just this small group. For example, if you wanted to go somewhere, you wanted to go visit somewhere, you wanted to get an Uber, you wanted to share it, you can post in here during the Creative Summit, hey, I'm going to get an Uber at 8 o'clock and go or get breakfast over here, then come back if you want to pitch in or join me or whatever. Or I'll meet you. Who wants to meet for lunch at Habit? It's a hamburger place, hamburger and fries place. It's walking distance. This is where you could post. This is very specific once the Creative Summit starts, just to hook up with people and talk about stuff. Our friend Brett FX, I'll add last year was my first visit. It was awesome walking into the hotel lobby the first night of running into a lobby of all the YouTubers and developers having a beer together. Absolutely. It's even better this year, Brett, because we're all in this, if most of us stay at the same hotel. You don't have to go anywhere. Right there. Everything's right there. They have a bar there. They have a lot of times, well, they'll have night events, including the expo, which has food and drink for everybody. So that'll be one of the nights. I don't know if it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. It's not going to be Friday. Friday, some people are leaving after Friday. I'll be staying until my plane is in the morning, so I'll be staying till Saturday morning. But Wednesday and Thursday night, one of those two nights is going to be the expo. The other night we'll probably meet up in the bar. A lot of times we gather there. Everybody gathers there because it's right there. You don't have to worry about, getting drunk and then trying to get back to your hotel room. I don't drink, so I don't have to worry about that. You can use different lenses just to use 0.5, 1x, 2x, or 5. That's what I have on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. Talking about the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro Max is going to be out in 1 month. September, 1 month, we're going to get the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro Max. So I am spending a lot of money. I got the iPad Pro 13-inch, 1 terabyte this year. That was almost $2,000. Apple got that money from me. I'm going to be getting the iPhone 16 Pro Max, carte blanche. I'm going to get it. I'm going to keep my iPhone 15 Pro Max at least for 1 more year because it has the USB-C port, which I really needed. So I'll have 2 good phones. 2 good cameras. I'll have this one, and I'll have the new iPhone 15, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It'll be out. It'll be shown in 1 month or so. Usually on a Tuesday, they'll show it, Apple event. Exactly. Just in time to finish my payments on my 14. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear you, but this is my main camera. I have my Lumix S5 Mark IIX, which is a fantastic camera, and I'll be bringing that to the Creative Summit with 1 lens because it's too much to carry more than 1 lens. I'll bring my 85 millimeter, so if there's any dark rooms, I can get from back to front pretty clearly. It worked very well last year. But this is my main camera. It does a great job of filming. It's fantastic. So I'll get the 16. This will be my B camera, if there is such a thing with the iPhones. 1 month they'll be announcing it, so I'm excited about that as well. Hopefully we have Final Cut Pro 10.8.1 by then. I presume we will. Maybe an update to the Final Cut camera app that allows you to record, switch cameras while you're recording. Maybe some other features. I mean, it's brand new. So the BlackMagic camera app has been out for a year. It has a year head start, so it's a little more advanced. But the Final Cut camera app is really cool if you're using Multicam Live. Very, very cool. So is anybody besides me going to the Creative Summit? I'm sure you're waiting on a few things. Here's the thing. The program's not up yet, but there is a 15% discount code. If you order now, tell them that I sent you. Tell them that Richard Taylor sent you from Final Cut TV or Final Cut Pro Radio. If you're going now, before the program's announced, I wouldn't worry about the program. You can always cancel before 7 days before the event in November if you didn't like it. So order now. Well, if you want to wait a little bit, you can. The hotels are not available. The block rate for the hotel is not available. So if you're going to stay at the Juniper, which I highly recommend, that's where I'll be staying. Absolutely. Our friend Brett, excellent. I met Brett for the first time last year. We had a really good time together. Fantastic. A fantastic upgrade would be an Apple-supported way to extend the phone to use MFT or other lenses one can dream. MFT, Micro Four Thirds, I'm looking at going, just waiting on the program. If you sign up, just mention me. If I was living in the USA, I would go, but the Netherlands too expensive. I completely understand that. As usual, with help from you all, I'll be reporting live from the Creative Summit the way I always have since 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2023. Now, I started in 2016, Facebook Live, and it was very successful, and I really enjoyed it, and I've built it every year since then. So if you can't make it, I will be reporting live multiple times during the day. The biggest one will be from my hotel room in the evenings or early in the morning. I'll play clips that I filmed the day before, etc., etc. Let me pull up another movie here. Just to give you an idea. This is lunch last time. Now, this was out on a patio. We had a patio. Future media conferences supplied lunches. I just do a quick tour around. Look who I run into. Final Cut Pro.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty darn good.
Live or are you just shooting?
I go live in the mornings.
We've been friends
Making
for
clips. I'm not
a few
live
years.
right now.
Awesome. It's good.
I'm going to broadcast the Apple presentation live.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sneak it in.
I'll be thrown out. I did that one time in 2017. I was Facebook live streaming from the Apple presentation at NAB when they announced 2 million.
Yeah.
That's my video. Yeah. I didn't ask them. I just did it.
Just did it.
But that ain't going to happen today, I know. They'll carry me out. I know that ain't going to happen.
Also have a disguise for this afternoon.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to describe myself as you.
I'm not gonna let you anywhere in there.
Oh no, that's not a good idea.
So that's the kind of camaraderie we have when we're at the Creative Summit. It's a great event. Absolutely great event for Final Cut Pro enthusiasts like all of you. Listen, if Final Cut Pro 10.8.1 comes out this week, I'll jump back on here live. If not, I'll see you next week, next Saturday. I'm going to continue to 12 o'clock. I think it works out pretty well. 12 noon, it gives time for the people on the West Coast to get up. It's 9 o'clock there, 4 o'clock in Greenwich Mean Time. I'm not sure what time it is in the UK. Maybe 5 o'clock we start. But don't forget, Final Cut Pro Creative Summit's coming up. An update to Final Cut Pro is probably coming up. Well, we know it's coming up, just when they're going to... Listen, I'm suspicious. I think they might add a feature or two because this is taking longer than normal to fix. 10.8.1 is taking longer than normal. I think they may indeed be adding a feature. Don't know. I wouldn't be disappointed if they don't add a feature. I wouldn't be disappointed if they don't, because I don't really expect it, but it would be a pleasant surprise if they added a feature, snuck in a feature. Go to 10.8.5 if you're going to add a feature. Go to 10.8 point whatever you want to. We're going to get an update to Final Cut Pro at the Creative Summit, around the Creative Summit. What it is, I don't know. Could be just a preview of 11. Say, here's a preview of Final Cut Pro 11. You can take pictures. You can talk about it. It's coming out later this year or the first of 2025, or It's going to be out next week, or it's going to be out in the end of November. That's what they did last time. Only dinner time here. There you go. Now, I completely understand. From overseas, it's very, very expensive. Anyway, everybody, my name's Richard Taylor. If you get your Final Cut Pro Creative Summit tickets, let me put that coupon code again up there. This is what we have right now, 15% off at checkout. You can always cancel if the program is not to your liking. You can always cancel 7 days before, so you have till the beginning of November. You could cancel, but I don't expect you're going to be doing that. It's a great event. It's a great event. Fantastic event. And the Juniper is the best place for the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. All right, everyone. I thank you so much for tuning in. This has been another great episode of Final Cut TV. We'll continue next Saturday at noon. We'll be back on live during the week if 10.8.1 comes out. Thank you so much. Here's our applause to the Final Cut Pro team. Oh, let me do that again. Here we go. Final Cut Pro team, thank you very much. Please get 10.8.1 out. If you added a feature, nobody's going to mind that at all. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You're the best Final Cut Pro audience in the world. Talk to you next week, if not sooner.